Hi, I'm Megan.
And I'm Ray.
Welcome to the Massive Wealth Podcast. Today, we're going to be diving deep into Apple stock.
Okay.
Trying to figure out what's going on with Apple as we head into 2025.
Right.
Will they actually be able to hit a $4 trillion valuation?
Yeah.
And you guys have sent in a ton of analyst reports, news articles. We've even got some social media chatter to sift through.
It's interesting, Apple, they're already kind of knocking on the door of a $4 trillion market cap.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which would be unprecedented.
Yeah, to be the first to hit $4 trillion.
For any company.
That is insane.
Yeah.
So let's break this down. Where is Apple stock sitting right now? And how close are they to that magic number?
Well, right now, Apple closed at $252.20.
Okay.
Down slightly today, but still up about 31% for the year.
Wow.
Which is, quite a bit higher than the S&P 500's 24% gain.
Right.
To reach that historic $4 trillion valuation, they need to hit $264.62.
So they're within striking distance.
Yeah.
A lot of the buzz seems to be centered around Apple's push into artificial intelligence.
Right.
With what they're calling Apple Intelligence.
Yeah.
What exactly is Apple Intelligence, and how is it driving this potential super cycle that analysts are talking about?
So Apple Intelligence is actually their AI software suite, which they released back in June 2024.
Oh, okay.
And a super cycle is when a major technological innovation sparks a massive wave of upgrades.
Right.
As both businesses and individuals rush to adopt the new technology.
Got it.
And analysts are saying that Apple Intelligence could be that innovation.
Interesting.
With its potential to revolutionize everything from how we use our devices to how businesses operate.
The million-dollar question is, will this super cycle actually materialize in 2025?
Right.
Will people rush to upgrade their iPhones and Macs just to get access to Apple Intelligence?
That's what we're trying to figure out.
Yeah.
There's definitely potential.
Right.
But, the initial rollout of Apple Intelligence wasn't as explosive as some had predicted.
That's a good point. I'm also wondering, since Apple isn't just about iPhones anymore, how do their other ventures, like the Vision Pro mixed reality headset, factor into this whole equation?
Yeah, the Vision Pro is a great example of Apple branching out.
Yeah.
But to be honest, it hasn't been a runaway success so far.
Really?
It's a premium product with a premium price tag.
Right.
And sales have been somewhat underwhelming, especially when you compare it to something like Meta's more affordable AI-powered Ray-Ban glasses.
Okay, so the Vision Pro might not be the game changer some thought it would be, but what about the rumors of new hardware coming out in 2025?
Yeah.
Could that be the catalyst for a super cycle?
There's a lot of talk about a new, more affordable iPhone SE coming out, which would make Apple Intelligence accessible to a wider market.
Makes sense.
There are also rumors of a wall-mounted smart home tablet.
Really?
Imagine controlling your lights appliances, even accessing your favorite apps right from your kitchen wall.
Wow.
All powered by Apple Intelligence, of course.
That's pretty slick. So we've got AI hype new gadgets on the horizon, but we need to kind of zoom out a bit and consider the bigger picture.
Right.
There's been talk about an overall upgrade cycle where businesses and individuals replace their older devices.
Yeah.
Didn't analysts predict this was going to happen in 2024?
They did, but it didn't materialize.
Didn't happen.
So now the question is, will it happen in the next 6 to 18 months?
Okay.
If it does, companies like Apple and Dell are poised to benefit significantly.
Okay, so there are some potential positives there, but what are some of the challenges and risks that Apple might face in 2025?
Yeah.
Because let's be real, not everything is sunshine and roses.
Right? Definitely not. One major concern is the potential for tariffs affecting Chinese sales and production.
Oh, yeah.
You've got to remember that 95% of Apple products are manufactured in China.
Right.
So any trade tensions or policy shifts could have a significant impact.
Yeah, that's a big one. And then there's also that ongoing antitrust lawsuit from the Department of Justice, right?
Right.
What are the potential consequences of that?
So the DOJ is alleging anti-competitive practices,
Fine.
specifically with Apple's App Store.
Right.
The outcome of this lawsuit could force Apple to change how they operate their app marketplace,
Wow.
potentially even changing their entire business model.
Huh. Stakes are really high.
Yeah.
So even with all the excitement around Apple, there are some serious headwinds to consider.
For sure.
But what's the overall sentiment from Wall Street?
Yeah.
Are analysts still bullish on Apple?
Oh, absolutely. There's still a lot of optimism.
Okay.
Wedbush, for example, predicts that Apple could ship over 240 million iPhones in 2025.
Wow.
Which would shatter their annual record.
That's a bold prediction. What about price targets for the stock?
Yeah.
What are analysts expecting?
The average 12-month price target from 33 analysts is $240.56,
Okay.
which is interesting because that's actually slightly lower than the current price.
Huh. That is interesting. So even with all the positive hype, some analysts are still a little bit cautious.
Exactly. Some are all in on the potential of AI,
Yeah.
while others are taking more of a wait-and-see approach.
All right, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to touch on the technical side of things.
Sure.
I know you've been looking at some charts.
Yes.
What's your take on the recent price action?
Recently, we've seen what's called a bearish evening star pattern forming in Apple's stock.
Okay.
Think of it as a 3-candle formation where the stock opens strong but then closes lower on the third day,
Okay.
forming a pattern that looks like a shooting star falling back to Earth.
Okay, that's a very vivid image, but what does that actually mean for the stock?
It could signal that the upward trend is losing steam.
Okay.
We've also seen some weakening price momentum, which adds to the bearish signals.
So if this bearish pattern plays out, what are the key levels that we should be watching?
On the downside, we've got key support levels around $237 and $218.
Okay.
These are prices where we might see buyers step in and try to push the stock back up.
Yeah.
On the upside, if the stock kind of shrugs off this bearish pattern and continues its climb,
Yep.
there's a chart-based price target near $270 to keep an eye on.
So there's a lot of potential for movement in both directions.
Absolutely. And that's what makes Apple such a fascinating stock to watch.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground in this first part.
We have.
Apple's current performance, the AI excitement, new hardware possibilities, that looming upgrade cycle question.
Yeah,
Not to mention the risks and what the analysts are saying.
absolutely.
Join us for part 2 of our deep dive, where we'll tackle some listener questions and explore the potential impact of Apple Intelligence in more detail.
Sounds good. Welcome back to our deep dive into Apple stock. We laid out a lot of the big picture stuff, but before we go any further, I'm really curious, what are you most interested in as we look ahead to 2025? What do you see as the biggest potential opportunity or the most pressing concern?
You know, we talked a lot about Apple Intelligence in that first part,
Right.
but I still have some questions. Like, what are some real-world examples of how Apple Intelligence could actually be used?
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to say it, has the potential to be revolutionary,
Yeah,
but it's another to actually see how it could impact our lives.
that's a great question. A lot of the excitement around AI, including Apple Intelligence, comes from its potential to change the way we interact with technology and solve problems.
Right.
It's not just about making our phones a bit smarter, it's about transforming entire industries.
So instead of just telling me AI is going to be big,
Right.
give me an example. Paint me a picture.
Okay, imagine using Apple Intelligence to create a personalized fitness plan that adapts to your progress
Okay.
and even predicts potential injuries before they happen.
Wow.
It'd be like having a personal trainer and a physical therapist right in your pocket.
That would be incredible. I could definitely use that. But what about applications beyond personal use?
Yeah.
How could Apple Intelligence be used in a business setting?
Think about using Apple Intelligence to analyze massive data sets to identify trends and optimize operations.
Okay.
For example, a retail company could use it to predict customer demand,
Right.
manage inventory more efficiently, and personalize marketing campaigns.
Interesting.
It could give them a serious competitive edge.
So Apple Intelligence could be a game changer not just for individuals, but for companies as well.
Absolutely.
But you mentioned earlier that the initial rollout of Apple Intelligence wasn't as explosive as some expected.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
That's a question a lot of people are asking.
Yeah.
I think it boils down to a few things.
Okay.
First, there's always a learning curve. With new technology, people need time to understand its capabilities and figure out how to integrate it into their lives and businesses.
So there's a bit of a wait-and-see approach from the public.
Exactly. Second, Apple is known for its smooth user experience.
Right.
With Apple Intelligence, they're not just adding a new feature, they're creating a whole new way of interacting with technology.
Right.
It takes time to get that right and make sure it's intuitive and user-friendly for everyone.
Okay, that makes sense. But even with those challenges, it sounds like you're still optimistic about the long-term potential of Apple Intelligence.
I am. The potential is truly vast,
Right.
but we also need to acknowledge the potential downsides of AI.
Right.
Things like job displacement and data privacy.
Yeah.
These are issues that society as a whole is grappling with, not just Apple.
You're right. Those are important concerns, especially data privacy. We all know Apple has been a strong advocate for user privacy in the past.
They have.
Will that commitment be challenged with their AI ambitions? How do you see that playing out?
It's a delicate balance. AI systems rely on vast amounts of data.
Right.
And there are legitimate concerns about how that data is collected, stored, and used.
Yeah.
Apple will need to be transparent about their data practices and make sure they're prioritizing user privacy
Right.
while still advancing their AI capabilities.
So shifting gears a bit, let's talk about that potential upgrade cycle we discussed earlier.
Yeah.
What are the key factors that you think could drive or hinder this cycle in 2025?
One crucial factor is the overall economic climate.
Okay.
If the economy weakens, people and businesses might hold off on upgrading their devices.
Right.
On the other hand, if the economy remains strong, we could see a surge in demand as people finally feel comfortable spending money on new gadgets.
And what about competition?
Yeah.
It's a crowded field out there.
It is.
How does Apple stack up against companies like Google, Microsoft, and Meta,
Yeah.
all of whom are investing heavily in AI?
Competition is always a factor in the tech world. Apple isn't the only company innovating in AI.
Right.
They need to continue delivering products and services that people love and find value in,
Right.
even with all those other players in the game.
So it's not just about developing great technology.
Right.
It's about creating a seamless and enjoyable experience for the user. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. It's about the whole package.
Okay.
And that's where Apple has historically excelled.
Speaking of competition,
Right.
we talked earlier about Meta's AI-powered Ray-Ban glasses.
Right.
How do they compare to Apple's Vision Pro, and which company do you think has the better strategy in this emerging market?
They're taking different approaches. Meta is focusing on affordability and accessibility.
Okay.
Their Ray-Ban glasses are significantly cheaper than the Vision Pro.
Right.
And are more about augmenting reality
Right.
rather than creating a fully immersive virtual experience.
So Meta is going for mass adoption, while Apple is aiming for a more premium exclusive market.
That seems to be the strategy. Only time will tell which approach resonates more with consumers.
Right.
It's still early days in the mixed reality market.
Okay, let's circle back to the new hardware Apple might release in 2025. The new iPhone SE and the wall-mounted smart home tablet. Those sound like they could be big, especially if they're powered by Apple Intelligence. Any other rumors we should be paying attention to?
Well, there's always speculation about an Apple car, but that's probably further down the road, maybe not in 2025. The iPhone SE and the smart home tablet are definitely more immediate possibilities.
You know, the smart home tablet really intrigues me. It seems like it could be more than just a cool gadget.
Right?
It could be the central hub that ties your entire digital life together,
Yeah.
especially if it's powered by Apple Intelligence.
I agree. If they can deliver on the seamless integration and intuitive design that Apple is known for, it could be a game changer for the smart home market.
Yeah.
Imagine controlling your lights, thermostat, security system, appliances, and entertainment all from one sleek wall-mounted device.
Now, that's a compelling vision, but let's get back to reality for a moment and revisit some of the risks Apple faces. We talked about tariffs earlier.
Right.
Can you elaborate on how former President Trump's policies could impact Apple if he's reelected?
Sure. During his previous term, President Trump imposed tariffs on goods imported from China,
Right.
and he has hinted that he might reinstate those tariffs if he returns to office.
Okay.
This could significantly increase the cost of producing Apple devices, which would likely translate to higher prices for consumers.
And with 95% of Apple's production happening in China, that's a significant vulnerability, right?
Yeah.
It's not like they can just shift production elsewhere overnight.
Exactly. It would take time and resources to diversify their supply chain.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, they would be caught in the crossfire of a trade war.
So the potential for tariffs is a real wild card for Apple, and then there's the antitrust lawsuit, which we touched on earlier.
Right.
It sounds like this could have major implications for Apple's future, depending on the outcome.
Absolutely. The Department of Justice is accusing Apple of anti-competitive practices,
Right.
especially with their App Store.
Yeah.
If the DOJ wins, it could force Apple to make significant changes to their app marketplace, potentially even requiring them to allow third-party app stores on their devices.
Wow, that would be a huge shift. So there's a lot of uncertainty surrounding Apple as we head into 2025.
Without a doubt, they are facing both immense opportunities and significant challenges.
Yep.
The decisions they make in the coming months and years will have a profound impact on their trajectory.
This has been a fascinating deep dive so far.
It has.
We've explored the potential of Apple Intelligence, the possibilities of new hardware, the looming upgrade cycle, and some of the big challenges they're facing. Join us for the final part of our deep dive, where we'll tackle a rapid-fire round of listener questions and share our final thoughts on Apple's prospects in the year ahead. Welcome back to the final part of our Apple stock deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground from AI to new hardware to potential risks, and now it's time for that rapid-fire round of listener questions.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
All right, first up, given the fierce competition from companies like Meta, is Apple still a good long-term investment?
That's a question on everyone's mind. I think what's important to remember here is that Apple has always faced competition.
Right.
They've always had rivals kind of, nipping at their heels.
Yeah.
And yet they've consistently found ways to innovate and come out on top.
So you're saying their track record speaks for itself?
In a way, yes. But past performance doesn't guarantee future results. The key for Apple moving forward will be to continue delivering products and services that people truly value.
Yeah.
Even as the competitive landscape intensifies.
Makes sense.
They need to maintain that edge in user experience and design that they're known for.
Okay, next question. I'm really worried about that antitrust lawsuit.
Yeah.
Could it actually force Apple to break up?
That's a possibility, but antitrust cases are incredibly complex.
Right.
And can drag on for years.
Yeah.
Even if Apple is found to have violated antitrust laws, the remedies might not be as drastic as a complete breakup.
Okay.
They could be forced to make changes to their App Store policies, for example,
Right.
which could still have a significant impact on their business.
So it's a wait-and-see situation with a lot of potential outcomes.
Exactly. It's a big unknown hanging over Apple right now.
Here's a fun one. Do you think Apple will ever release a foldable iPhone? Everyone else seems to be doing it.
Foldable phones are definitely a hot trend right now.
They are.
And it would be foolish to think that Apple isn't at least exploring the possibility.
Right.
They're very secretive about their product development.
Yeah, they are.
So we probably won't know for sure until they're ready to unveil it.
So potentially, but no guarantees. Okay, last question. What's your overall outlook for Apple stock in 2025? Should I buy, sell, or hold?
The million-dollar question, right?
Right.
If we kind of connect all the dots, I'd say Apple's prospects are a mixed bag. There's a lot of potential upside, especially if they can successfully capitalize on the AI wave with Apple Intelligence
Right.
and ride that upgrade cycle we talked about.
But there are also those risks we discuss.
Right. The potential for tariffs, the outcome of the antitrust lawsuit, and even the broader economic climate could all impact Apple's performance in 2025.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, as you think about your own investment decisions?
It means that Apple is still a company worth watching closely.
Okay.
Do your own research, weigh the potential risks and rewards,
Yeah.
and make an informed decision based on your own individual circumstances and investment goals.
And of course, we have to say it's standard disclaimer. We're just doing analysis of the stock and not giving any investment decision. If this episode added value to you, then like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Apple. Until next time.